The number one thing to determine if you're ready to retire is if you can convince your wife. I just got off the horn with a guy. Careful there, big guy. Careful. And good guy. His wife wasn't on the horn. And we're crunching the numbers. This dude's fine, man. He's got a fat pension. He's got no debt other than a little bit of a car loan and a small motorcycle loan that he can pay off right now if he wants. 50, I think it's 54, maybe 53, 54, something like that. Doesn't spend much. He and his wife. They put 3 kids, one through college. I think 2 others. I can't remember if they put them through college, but just they're doing great, man. He's got a side hustle he can engage with his dad if he really wanted to ramp up the money, which he could. He probably will, actually, because his dad's using the side hustle as kind of like a social event more than anything, as a profit center. And this guy, if he wanted to, he could focus on profits, make it profitable. He's good to go. His wife works at a non-crapula job. It's not a great job, but she's comfortable with it. Now, where's my man? I think it was Rick from OK. We got now for Kim Davis, Pablo, and Rick from OK, who says he loves dogs more than me, but I can't see old Finney. There is. And he said, yeah. I said, dude, here's a dime. Call someone who cares about what you think about the channel, because I don't. Why do people get upset about dogs? It's the weirdest thing. Anyway, so going back to my man up there, and we're just chatting about whether or not he can retire, and we just crunched the numbers. I said, dude, you're fine. The whole thing, no debt, pension, you're fine. No other way around that. And we could spreadsheet this until we're blue in the face. He's got, I think he had like $550,000, something like that. Not a huge IRA or 401k. I mean, it's good. Well beyond the 25% median for a guy his age. But the issue, of course, is that everyone and their mom have been convinced that you can't retire unless you have billions of dollars. And this guy's a blue-collar guy, works with his hands. His wife is doing admin assistant for healthcare. That's it. I mean, she's okay. But these aren't, they're just regular salty other people, man. Making good money, but not making freaking huge bank. Saving money, living in a house that's worth less than $200,000 that they bought many moons ago, that's paid for, no intention of selling it. Now, just a typical American family. Typical American family. And but the thing is, we can spreadsheet till we're blue in the face, but the issue is the wife isn't going to care about spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are the left-hand side of your brain. Emotions are the right-hand side of your brain. All right, so we have to focus on the. And now, look, I'm not here to convince the wife anything. I told this guy, I said, man, go back to your wife, let her show you her worst, i.e., how much you guys need, what her worries are, and we can spreadsheet that on the right capital software. But at the end of the day, you can't appeal to somebody's logic if they're working on emotional structure. You can't say, honey, logically this, that, the other. She's like, I don't care about logic. The issue is what if? What if we have a big medical expense? What if? Why are these other people saying I have to have $1 billion, trillion to retire? And so you're telling me with some guy on YouTube that you don't need all that. So what if he's wrong? What if he's an ass clown? What if? You got to appeal to the emotional side. Hey, Penny. And the emotional side tells me, would say, she's worried about a big risk coming down the pike. So what you say is throw it. Let's see what you got. What are the expenditures, that you think is going to happen? What are some of the big events that you think could happen? And I know what it's going to be. It's going to be a healthcare cost of significant proportion. It's either going to be long-term care, and that's easy. Just sell the house, go in. That's all there is to it. Because and we'll get to a second part of this emotionally. Or it's going to be a big health expenditure that they can't pay for out of pocket. Well, she's still working with health insurance. Now, when she quits, if she were to quit before Medicare, that's a different story. But she's still working and going to work for the next 5 years or so. Now, I told this guy, I said, I know your wife isn't going to be comfortable if you're sitting around smoking cigarettes and playing cards with the boys out at the VFW hall. But he's not like that. He's a working guy. He's like, I like to work. I like to do something. He's got ideas. He's got projects. He's got money-making opportunities he wants to focus on. And we're not even throwing that out there as an income potential of what he could make. That's not even part of the plan. The plan is just they don't spend that much. And we're not even having their expenditures dropping down as they age either. So I said, well, let's get your wife on here. Not today, but because we had a long conversation. I said, in the future, let's get your wife on board, and have her. After you guys discuss this, just tell her, say, hey, what do you think? What's likely? What's the worst case scenario? If we can make it with the worst case scenario, would you be convinced that it's okay? And she'll be yes or no. If it's not yes, and if it's no, then the question is why? Are we so paranoid that we can't see the writing on the wall that says you're going to be fine, that we're so emotionally distraught about the potentially run out of money? If so, we're not out of the woods yet, or we haven't lost yet. All right, what we have to say is emotionally, what happens if I got a stroke at 62 before I had a chance to retire? What happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? What happens if, so many different things could happen. There's so many instances of people dying, people getting hurt of that before you had a chance to go on those travels. So you say, okay, look, let's say this stuff happens, you know what I'm saying, and I stay at work, and so that way you're comfortable because I have more health care, we got more money, we saved up more money. Is that going to change our ability to go to a nursing home? Not really, not really. Maybe I have a couple extra, $20 extra $1,000, but it's not going to change much, Pablo. How about if you go to nursing home when you're 88? Is that going to change that you worked until you're 60? No, it's just not. What if you? I'm doing a vid real quick. Oh, thanks, babe. What if and then what's the likelihood of you having a stroke and all that before you're 88? But before you had a chance to retire and enjoy it. It's just, and then we got example after example of that happening. So the issue is, okay, so if we stay working, is that going to solve that much? No, it's not. We're already there. Stay working for another 5 years. What's that going to do? Not going to do much. It's just not. If you're already there, you're already there. So that's what the emotional thing is. All right, what's the risk of still working? What's the risk that you might get laid off? What's the risk of that? What's the risk of this? I get if the risk is healthcare, but she's working for the healthcare, just like my wife is doing. And so the healthcare is a big concern, but that's already covered. Now, you have to revisit this when she decides to quit her crappy old job. But again, it's not a crappy old job at this stage. So anyway, that's the number one thing to determine if you're ready to retire, whether or not you can convince your spouse. And just remember, all the time, too, when I say ready to retire, that doesn't mean not making income. That simply means you're quitting your crappy old job. I think this guy's been working here for at least 20 years, part of the union or whatnot. So he can still make money. It just means you quit your crappy old job to do something else that's more engaging mentally for you. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we'll see you.